we gave Daniel Levy so much shit while he was here for not going strong in the transfer windows. You know, that's been covered to death. But we've always said about we give him credit for the business acumen that he has, and he's probably the best in the business in that sense. But literally, he has given us the platform to be what we are and be able to spend what we are doing right now. So I think, you know, when Daniel Levy said that, you know, you'll look back at my time and appreciate what I've done, I think we should appreciate what he's done for the football club, because the club that he's taken over and the club that he's left, yes, fine, we could have done a lot more when he was here in terms of a sporting merit, and I won't forgive him for those kind of things, and I don't want him as my chairman right now. But looking back at the work that he did and leaving us on a platform to do what we can do now, I think is unbelievable, to be honest.
Yeah, and the reality is when he took over and for the years after that, we were on a very much, we could easily be Villa and Newcastle right now. Very easily. We could just be a club who's good, but you know doesn't have the revenues to compete. But because of all that work he put in behind the scenes, 100%, we're now in a place where we shouldn't really be in that sense. We shouldn't be able to compete financially with these massive clubs, but because Levy done all that good work, we are a club that's somehow able to do it. Because we're the only one in the top six who haven't won regular big trophies over these last 20 years, yet we're the only one. We're the only one who haven't won them and can also compete financially. Everyone else has been lagging behind. So I think it just goes to show the great work he has done, 100%. But he never had the balls to really use that financial advantage to our advantage on the footballing side.
Yeah, exactly.
He never did.
And that's why he had to go, and that's why he's probably had to go for the last number of years. So I'm delighted he's moved on, and it was a great day when he left the football club. But I don't think we should forget the space that he's left us in terms of being able to flex our financial muscle.
It was an interesting conversation. I think we've all been hearing Simon Jordan on TalkSport doubling down. He was saying, and I mean, Brad Frieda was also on with him, and he was saying, look, the Spurs. Jim White asked him, "Is it Levy's? Is the current spending spree evidence that Levy was holding Tottenham back, and now they're able to spend, and now they're able to." Loosen the purse strings. Now Levy's gone because he was just an accountant and he was always thinking about the money, and yet they're spending big money now on two players. And Simon Jordan's retort was that it wasn't Levy who set the budgets, it was the hires up, and it was the hires up who are now in charge, and they're the ones who have taken over and decided to take the reins of the footballing side, and they've now changed their tune, and from we're a club that wants to maximise revenues to we're a club that now actually wants to use those revenues to compete, and we actually want to spend massive money, and we actually want to show a bit more ambition. So is it Levy's fault that he was only set a certain budget, or was it Levy setting the budget? I guess that's the question. I mean, I understand his thinking, but I just feel like did Levy have no say over how much we could spend? Like he, as much as he had someone higher than him, he was very involved, and he's Joe Lewis's, what is he? They're like family almost. Like they were family. Like I don't think, as much as obviously it is was the Lewis family at the time kind of having the final say on what the budgets are. I'm pretty sure Levy was in those discussions setting the budget.
Levy is an accountant, and by the very nature was very frugal with the money, and he always kept banging on about every penny that goes into this club comes back out and is spent on transfers and spent on the club. That never seemed to materialise. That never seemed to happen. As the time wore on, we spent more money on the transfer window, but it wasn't just about how much money he was spending. It was about the decisions of what kind of players he was bringing in. It wasn't always a case of money.
And the negotiation style.
And exactly. There was so many different factors that went into why Spurs couldn't push on the pitch under Daniel Levy. It wasn't all just about how much money we were spending.
But I guess the point Simon Jordan's making is Levy he had to negotiate the way he did, and he had to spend the money in the way that he did, and the wages, because that was set to him by the Lewis family. That would be his argument. Now the Lewis family are just basically paying whatever they want, and they're just saying yes, yes, yes. that's because that's their decision to loosen the purse strings. And if Levy had that leeway, he's arguing maybe he would have done the same.
I think that there might be some sort of validity to it, but I also feel that if Levy wanted to, he could have pushed the boat out a bit more. But again, it comes down to decision making on the footballing side of things. You know, constantly chopping and changing things, bringing in players that don't fit, the recruitment model. Maybe the wage structure is what, you know, hamstrung him in terms of from the higher ups. Maybe the higher ups didn't let him kind of extend that wage structure. Maybe that's, you know, you can say.
See, the thing I would say back to that is I just don't agree that Levy didn't have a say. I understand
He might not have had a say, but he might not have the final say.
Like I just like he's the guy who was the guy who was managing the money. He was the guy who was basically the accountant in the room. I think he was very much in control of what our budget should be, and I'm pretty sure that he was probably the one telling the Lewis family, I think we should keep the money at this rate. I think we should only be paying this much.
I don't disagree.
I don't think it's the Lewis family telling him. Obviously, the Lewis family have a say as well. I'm sure they do. But I don't think it was the case that it was just the Lewis family like setting the budget and Levy working within it. I'm pretty sure Levy was well on board with that budget being set, and he had a massive say in it.
And I think it's proof when he's saying to Simon Jordan, Brighton have had their pants pulled down.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because he's saying that because never in a million years would he pay that.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure in the room, he was probably the authority on the budget. That's what I would think. If I'm imagining how that boardroom would be set, I understand that the Lewis family are above him. I completely get that. But he's the accountant. He's the money man. I'm pretty sure he was probably the one setting the budget. I'm pretty sure of that. I don't think he had this lack of autonomy like Simon Jordan is inferring, in my opinion. So I just don't buy what if Simon Jordan that's saying that if Levy was just given permission to loosen the purse strings, he would also be spending 92 million or whatever on these players. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree with that. So, I mean, we're sailing off into the sunset. Very happy that Daniel Levy has left the club. And it, like I said, needed to happen for so many years. He was holding us back on the footballing side for so many years. And now it just feels like the dark cloud has descended over this football club. And we can actually, you know, he kept talking about, you know, we need to be in line with this. We need to be in line with that. The PSR rules are coming. The next rules are coming. We need to be in line with it. And because of the work he did in keeping us in line for so many years, we're able to do this. So it's kind of, you can look back at his time at Spurs positively and negatively.
Yeah.
Mainly negatively because all the shit that we had to go through. We had to go through so much shit because of how kind of stringent he was with it all. And we could have spent so much more and still stayed in line with the rulings and stuff, and we could have definitely made better decisions over the course of time. You know, just look at the transfer windows we had when Jose Mourinho was our manager, Conte was our manager. You know, he was able to push the boat out and getting top managers in, but there was no point doing that when you're bringing in the Matt Dohertys and the Clement Lengleys and all this kind of Jedson Fernandes, you know what I mean? All this kind of stuff. So we always had the power to do this, but we're never going to do it under him because of his frugal nature.